This is Jin Kazuma, a character that you might recognize if you've played any Tekken game in the past. He's running away from some Hall of Fame side characters before he turns around and lays the whoopings on all of them, until his mom Jun Kazuma stops him. At this point, you may be wondering, what am I looking at? This is Tekken Bloodline, an anime that was made to promote Tekken 8. As someone who is a big fan of the Tekken games, I decided to give this anime a chance, and I really don't know how to feel about it. Back to the story. Jin is upset that his mom stopped him from beating on those thugs. He said, "They told me I don't belong." And she says, "That's because you don't belong. You are the main character, Jin." I just summed up 2 minutes of dialogue with one sentence. The anime tried their absolute hardest to be deep here, talking about some "in this world there is good and evil and you." They go outside to start training, and this is an amazing looking sequence. I want to tell you right now, the fights in this show do not look anything like this. 2 more minutes of useless dialogue until a drunk guy shows up at Jin and Jun's door. He's upset because Jin beat up that dude who was bullying him earlier in the show. We then get this scene.
They jumped me. They always pick fights with me.
Control your anger. Don't let it control you.
Back to what I said about this show trying way too hard to be deep. Not only was he completely controlling his anger, but he was trying to de-escalate and logic his way out of the situation by telling the guy what actually happened. So the drunk guy gets impatient and attacks, probably because he still doesn't know what's going on, thanks to the fact that Jun cut off Jin when he was trying to explain, and Jun hits the guy, which is exactly what she was getting mad at Jin for doing earlier. So you get mad at Jin for defending himself when he is attacked, but then you do the same thing. So the drunk guy takes a hike, and then we get a few more minutes of useless dialogue until an ogre shows up at the door. She tells Jin, "Stay in the house, you are not to come out no matter what." So Jun is fighting this ogre, and this is what the fights actually look like in this anime, which I can't really complain about because it's actually pretty accurate to what they look like in the Tekken games. So Jun is pretty much cooked, and Jin comes outside because he's the protagonist, and he cannot lay a finger on this ogre. He stands absolutely zero chance. But he does get the ogre to let go of Jun, and she starts teeing up a little bit before she gets manhandled. But she gets right back up and catches the ogre in an arm bar and plans to burn alongside of the ogre. And by plan 2, I mean that's exactly what happened. She got deep fried. Jin then goes off to find his grandfather because Jun told him that if anything happens to her, to go speak to him. His grandfather beats him up and tells him to take a hike because he's too weak, until Jin told him that he saw the ogre. His grandfather Heihachi says, "Okay, you saw the ogre? I guess I'll train you then." So Jin starts training with Heihachi, and the main takeaway from this is that Heihachi's style is the complete opposite of Jun's. Kazuma style, Jun Kazuma's combat style, is all about self-defense and not letting power overtake you. Mishima style, however, the style of Heihachi Mishima, is about using power to get what you want and using your malice as a source of power. That being said, Heihachi is telling Jin about how he was given 2 stone statues from his father, and when he was given the statues, his dad broke one of them with his bare hands and said, "Us Mishimas have the power to build and the power to destroy." So Jin trains under Heihachi for the entire episode, and then on his way out, he does this.
Got something.
This scene is pretty much just to show that all of his mother's teachings are gone and he acts like that now. Episode 3 is where the anime starts to pick up as Jin is entering in the King of the Iron Fist tournament, a tournament in which powerful fighters from all over the world go to test their skills. The reason Jin is entering in this tournament is because he believes he may find Ogre there, who is drawn to large amounts of power. If you're wondering how Ogre is alive at this point, because it wasn't really touched on, you could kind of see him teleport away while he was in the armbar. Jin, alongside the other participants, which also includes his childhood rival, are informed that they are going to be transported to their final destination via bus. Along the way, Jin is researching a fight between Kazuya Mishima and Heihachi Mishima. Kazuya is Jin's father, and he inherited a special gene called the Devil Gene. It's also revealed in this bus ride that everyone riding in the bus hates Heihachi as well as Kazuya. They arrive at where the tournament is going to be taking place, and Jin requests an audience with Heihachi. He wants to ask Heihachi what happened to his father after the tournament, as he had saw that there was assassination attempts put onto his head. Heihachi pretty much says, "Focus on the now, don't worry about the past," and walks away. Jin is walking to somewhere he didn't clarify because he's an edgelord, where this guy pops out of the shadows and says, "Word is, you've been training with Heihachi." This guy is such a Heihachi hater that he punches Jin just for training with the guy. But Jin just walks away, either showing that his resolve for revenge is very strong, or that the teachings of his mother still reside in him. The interpretation is up to you. Turns out Jin was going to talk to this lady, Nina, who may have information about the Mishima battle. And despite being an assassin, she's a little too sensitive and just says, "The last thing I want to talk about is the Mishimas," and runs away. This guy, however, Paul, is willing to give some information on Kazuya. He says that he was a very ruthless guy. As far as Heihachi killing Kazuya is concerned, Paul says he isn't sure, but he would not doubt it, as both Heihachi and Kazuya are very cold people. We then get 5 minutes of dialogue about Jin potentially having the same devil gene that Kazuya had, could potentially draw out the ogre during the tournament. Next episode is Tournament Day, and we see Jin fighting the guy who was pressing him earlier named Leroy. This is a back and forth fight, but Leroy refuses to give up because he wants revenge on Heihachi. Apparently, Heihachi destroyed Leroy's neighborhood a long time ago, so it makes sense why Leroy dislikes this guy. However, I truly don't understand what entering in a tournament hosted by the guy you dislike is going to do for you in terms of revenge. But either way, Leroy is not getting revenge, as Jin wins the fight by breaking his leg. While the side characters are duking it out, Jin goes and checks on Leroy's injury, thus earning Leroy's respect. We then get Jin versus his childhood rival Horang. This is a very solid back and forth fight until Jin locks in and gives Horang the business, but he does show Horang mercy, which makes Heihachi very upset. Next episode, this side character for some reason thinks that she can take on Heihachi. She definitely cannot. She starts making demands, talking about, "I want to know what happened to my mother and where is her pendant?" She's lucky that Jin stepped in to save her, because it was not about to be sweet. After Heihachi leaves, the girl informs Jin that the pendant that Heihachi is in possession of, the one that Jin is fully aware that Heihachi has, is going to be used for evil in Heihachi's hands. Jin says, "No, that's not true. Me and Heihachi are literally working together to get rid of the ogre right now." And the girl informs Jin that the one that released the ogre was actually Heihachi. Thus, the one that basically killed Jin's mom was Heihachi as well. Jin then promises that after the tournament, he'll see to it that the girl gets her pendant back. Next fight, Jin has to go against someone who is trying to win the tournament to get the prize money to donate it to an orphanage. Jin actually decides to let the guy win. Nah, I'm just playing. But Jin does give the money to the guy so he can donate it. And with that, Jin has officially won the tournament and become the king of the Iron Fist. Jin then walks off, but it's revealed that he has to beat one final opponent in order to actually become the king of Iron Fist, and that is Heihachi. Heihachi knocks down Jin. Jin gets up, knocks down Heihachi, but as he does so, the pendant that Heihachi had on him comes out of his pocket and activates. The activation of the pendant summons the ogre, which doesn't really make sense. I kind of thought the ogre was supposed to spawn when Jin's devil gene activated, but I don't know. The ogre is here now and Jin is upset. Jin is tired, so all his friends want to help out, but Heihachi will not let them. And Jin does his thing. He tees up, locks in, defeats the ogre, except he didn't. There's a second phase. Let's get it. No one cares what Heihachi's got to say. They're gonna help Jin out. They're getting the job done. Jin takes down the monster and
I am Mishima, and you are an abomination.
that ending is not it. There was a lot of questions left to be answered, including side character never getting her emblem back and really never fully explaining what the emblem does. I don't know, man. This is just a summary. I thought the anime was watchable. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe if you're new, leave a like. I'll see y'all later.